Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's number one Chief Rockin' Knicks Universe. It's your main man, Uncle Freezy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to this thing that we call Old School Knicks. I want y'all to put your hands together for one of the smartest men in Knicks Universe. One of the Knicks Universe historians, the man that is so smooth, he does not require a chaser. Anthony D. Damn, what's good, boss?
Hell, dude, you'll be choking me with that.
How you doing, man?
You said I'm doing all right. Sounding like I'm walking on by the man.
Yeah.
The myth. The legend.
The legend. The legend. Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I know people are jelly of this vibe.
Of what? Old school Knicks?
Yeah, of this vibe that we have, because what happens is a lot of spaces that I enter, and that should tell you everything right there that I enter. A lot of people don't know Knicks history. They parakeet what somebody told them that's not historically accurate. Give you an example. A person I'm getting ready to call out right now, a dude named Hoodie Kev. Right? A dude named Hoodie Kev
is Knox father.
Yeah. Says John Starks lost the NBA Finals for the Knicks.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, Hoodie Kev, how did Starks lose the finals? How did Starks lose the finals for the Knicks when, if there's no Starks, there is no finals? And in game six, which we lost, Pat Ewing was 6 for 20. And I'm not blaming Pat, but Derek Harper in that same game, that game 6, was 2 for 10. And Starks carried the Knicks, kept them in that game 6.
You see
right?
what you did? You see what you did here, Hoodie Cap? You see what you did here?
You see what you did here?
You know, bro, we ain't even get 5 minutes into the show.
Right.
All the way at 94.
Right. I'm calling people
yourself.
out.
Pause.
I'm calling people out because of what you're about to say. I have to preface it. I have to preface what it is that you're about to get into because of revisionist history. And I'd like for history to be actual history and not revised based on how we feel today. You know what I'm saying? And so that game 6, AD, you was there, you saw it. You know Derek Harper fat rump was 2 for 10. And people are like, well, I don't know why Pat Riley stayed with Starks in game 7. It's because Hubert Davis looked shook in games, like somebody with, like it was armed robbery. He had to look at his face like he didn't want to be there. And in game 6, Derek Harper was 2 for 10. And people are like, yo, if I was Pat Riley, I'd have put in anybody else. Anybody else would have hit a shot. I don't remember it that way. I remember Derek Harper being 2 for 10. I remember Hubert Davis looking like somebody pulled out a pistol on him in game 6. I remember Starks being a threat to the Houston Rockets. Right? And then plus AD, if you remember this, do you remember Derek Harper leaving Kenny Smith wide open at the top of the key for 3 throughout the finals?
Well,
Kenny the Jet Smith.
He was having a horrible finals up until game 6-ish. Definitely had a good game 7. Yeah. He was shook. Yeah. He was having a horrible finals. That hip check and all of that. And I don't know how we got here from deja vu, but we here because this is what we do. Right? That rhymed.
Right. You're right.
So, but hold on here. First, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to our Knicks fan base and so forth for another journey. Thank you very much for joining us as we are rolling. But to back where Freezy's at, because Freezy's hyped this morning. Kev, you did this.
Yes.
But we're here, and Kenny the Jet was having a horrible series.
Yes.
Right? He really was. Kenny the Jet from out of New York, left rack zone. He was having a horrible series.
I don't know. Why do we say left rack when it's LaFrac? That's a New York thing. That's a New York thing.
Yeah, it's LaFrac. It's LaFrac, but it's LaFrac. But it's LaFrac. L-E'.
Yeah. But we say it like it's two. That like there are two F's.
Like it's one word. One word.
Yeah.
Like deja vu.
That's Shout out to Queens.
Yeah, that's like 3 different words, 3 syllables. But
right.
He was having a horrible series. And we've mentioned Harper on these airwaves, and not in favorable terms.
Full disclosure, I do not like Derek Harper, by the way. So anytime you hear me go at Harper, it's because I just don't like him.
Well,
and I'm sorry y'all for not setting aside my biases. But there are some certain things that were said after the fact that you feel like mature adults should know better.
Yes, and I think that's where I drew the line with Derek as well. The first time he went at Pat.
Right.
And I think we mentioned this maybe like a month ago or something like that, as far as where the love is, where we thought it was real love.
Right.
But he's since cleaned it up. And you know what? Sometimes you can be in your feelings. Men get in their feelings.
Yes.
It's not a woman thing.
Right.
It's not just a woman thing, I should say. Men get in their feelings.
Right.
And, it hurts. If it hurts us 20-something years later. Still. Right? No pun. Still.
Right.
I'm sure it hurts him.
Right.
He's not letting it go. When I see Pat, when I hear Pat and whatever, Pat, I want to say he seems to have come to terms with it and so forth. And he's been a gentleman, acts like a gentleman when it comes to those questions. And I think I heard him on an interview maybe like a year ago, and some of the details was a little foggy for him and so forth. And I'm a respect it that, with time and age, you're not going to remember every little detail, nook and cranny of the games, like maniacs like myself that will torture myself and go back and watch. Go back and watch Game 3. And watch Harper leave Cassell open on consecutive 3-point plays. You see, that's the dagger right there. Because even as great as Hakeem was, with the format, like how it was, they were going home in 5.
Yes, they were gone, bro.
They were going home in 5.
Pat Ewing averaged 5 blocks a game.
They were going home in 5.
Pat Ewing had a phenomenal defensive NBA
series.
Finals.
As a defensive series, he had a phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I used to make that argument, for a long time. He had the shot blocking record. He had, a lot of rebounds and whatever. My man was like, shout out to my man, Tony George. My man George was like, yo, Ed, did you see him in games 1 and 2? Did you see him in games? Game 5 is like his best game. And, I still put up the good fight for him because that's your man. That's your squad.
Right.
So internally, you hold it down. But, we know what it was. But, Freezy, let's leave the sadness of 94.
Yes.
We'll have all next year to talk about 94 because it'll be the 30th year anniversary
so
that
we'll
we
have
celebrate.
A year to be solemn.
That we're gonna celebrate 94 more than they celebrated 73.
That's bananas.
Let's think about that.
That's bananas.
If that ain't ass backwards, I've never seen anything like it.
I heard Clint Eastwood say it's bass backwards.
Yes.
Bass backwards. It's bass backwards. You
bass
know it's bad with his bass backwards.
Yes, we're gonna celebrate 94 in the spring of 90. Dude, we had a little mini documentary that we came out with like 15 years ago called Spring of 94.
Right.
Which details the Rangers. By the way, we're gonna have to touch on a little hockey at some point here because the Rangers, look, MSG right now is the place to be. It's the home of the Brunsons. The Liberty.
Yes.
The Rangers.
Yes.
Dare I say the Liberty got a better team than the Knicks?
Right now, they can sign free agents.
Dare I say they are building like a Hall of Fame squad. They're trying to leave no doubt when they win it. Like it's gonna be no doubt here. But the Liberty, the Rangers,
who are owned by the Nets, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways,
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But to the theme or the title of today's conversation, which is deja vu.
Right.
Is this 2021 again?
Right.
Or is this something of its own? And in 21, if you remember, which I'm sure you do, we go on this, I think was it 9 games?
Yep.
Was it a 9-game winning streak?
Yeah.
At the end in March. Late March into April.
8 or 9, something like that.
Where what's my man who they gave a 3-year, $30 million contract to, the beanpole, the center? He's blocking everything in sight.
Nerlens Noel.
People were actually saying he's better than Mitch.
Yeah, people were actually saying
because
they were wrong, but they were actually saying it.
Dead wrong, right? And I'm not the biggest Mitch fan, and fans know that. Nick Nation know that, right? But here you have a man that still has his junior high school body,
right?
Who was a one-trick pony,
and he's 40 years old.
Better than Mitch, right? Randall is. What did Randall average that year? Was it 24, 6, and 10?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yes.
Randall is nobody's in the gym. Randall is New York. We here. I don't think he realized the power of galvanizing that state. That state. How galvanizing that statement was. Excuse me.
Right.
Excuse my slippage of the tongue. Pause.
Right.
So, and then how much it backfired on him when things didn't go well. Right. Because we're here.
Right.
We always was here. Shout out to Brooklyn.
Shout out to Brooklyn, New York.
I'm not gonna beat up on y'all. I told y'all that last week.
Right.
But a little jab, a little, a little forearm to little brother to let y'all.
Shout out to my family in Brooklyn. I don't even know what part of Brooklyn they live in. All they tell me is Brooklyn, New York.
I'm Brooklyn all day. I'm from Brooklyn.
I got family. They say Brooklyn, USA, or some.
Yeah, at one point in time, Brooklyn was the 4th largest city in the United States.
Right.
And it might have been like 2nd or 3rd, but how I remember that, because in the opening credits of Welcome Back, Kotter, you would see Brooklyn, the 4th largest city in the United States.
Right.
And this is like 1975.
Welcome back.
Right. Right. With a bunch of kids that were like the Cosby kids on steroid. You know what I'm saying? With John Travolta and all of Vinny Barbarino.
Bro, that is
Barbarino.
That is Brooklyn.
That is some Brooklyn shit. That is some what's down there. Oh my God, I'm forgetting them. But excuse me, I know I love y'all. But down there, 3rd Avenue, 4th Avenue, down there by the bridge. I'm forgetting that part of the area right now. It's gonna come to me really quickly. Don't worry about it. But that was Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
And all of that, So shout out to them. Shout out to Welcome Back, Kotter. Welcome Back. It was just wow. know what I'm saying?
Right.
Freddie Boom Boom Washington.
Right.
Arnold Horshack.
Horshack.
How do I still remember these names? You know, my man Esposito.
Bro.
How do I still remember these names 40 plus years later? I'm dating myself for real.
Yeah, man. As soon as you hear a name like Barbarino, I think Bensonhurst.
That's the first. Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Which the greatest claim to fame is Ralph Cramden.
The Honeymooners.
The Honeymooners.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man.
And the funniest thing is, I think we touched on this a little bit before. In TV land, we love Bensonhurst, Brooklyn.
Yes, we love
in real life.
Maybe not as much. Maybe not as much in real life.
Back in those days.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And I'm not gonna say much more, right? Because we know what it is.
Yeah, there are some places in Brooklyn that
back in those days.
Let's say, you know, let's just say for safety reasons, there are places in Brooklyn that you know what I'm saying, either I'd rather leave alone. Yeah.
Back in those days. And that's no disrespect to Bensonhurst, like I said. One of the greatest TV shows that I grew up on, you know, was The Honeymooners.
Right.
Ralph Cramden is from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. When he stood up there on the $99,000 TV show, right? When he stood up there going, I'm gonna when they asked him, dude, let me look.
And ask him a question that he knew the answer to.
That he didn't know the answer to, but he refused to learn it because if you remember, as he gets on the show the week before. I remember this.
I thought he knew the answer to the question. He got nervous.
He's on the show the week before, right? And how they used to do things like the last contestant, they had like a continuation.
Okay.
So he comes out, you know, with the nice little young lady walks him out, and he's like, I drive a bus.
Yeah.
Right? Not even I drive a bus, but I drive the bus. Right? So the next week, in like a week's preparation, he has all the neighbors and everybody's giving him music. Cause that's what it was. He chose top 40. Right? Top 40 as his questions where he was going to go. And for those who don't know, the $99,000 show, if you look into the history of it, they used to give the contestants the answers. It was like a rigged thing, but it was a big thing back in the 40s and 50s.
Right.
Nobody told Jackie Gleason that, or no one told Ralph Cramden that. Yeah. Right? So Ralph, and I'm gonna sum it up real quick. Ralph for like a week is studying, and who's the person who's his chief study partner? Ed Norton. When Ed starts, everything Ed starts, Ed goes dun 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 dun. He plays Swanee River.
Yeah.
Before he can do anything else, so Ralph is like, "Yo, why are you starting every damn song with dun dun dun?" Yeah. The very first question after Ralph, you know, his wife is telling him, "I'd be happy if you come home with a $600 prize."
Right. Which was a lot of money for Bensonhurst, New York.
$600 right now falls into my pocket right now. I'm very happy.
Very happy.
I'm very happy. If I didn't know where it was, you know how you know sometimes you push your hand in your coat and stuff like that. And you're like, where the hell does $15 come from? Yeah. I don't know, but I'm good with it.
I'm good.
Right? Okay. He's like, $600. This is where the line comes from. I'm a mere bag of shells.
Yeah. Mind you, he's a dust driver.
Man's a dust driver. And he's going all the way. So he goes back to the show. And he's, you know, remember, the first time he came out to the show, they had to guide him out. The second time he came on the show, that man is pimp juice walking.
Right. Pimp juice.
You know what I'm saying? You know, the host is like, "So what are you going?" He's like, you know, contrary to what my wife believes, we're going for the $99,000 prize.
Oh.
The first question The very first question, all you hear is dun, 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 dun.
Swanee River.
Who was the author of Swanee River? Ralph looked around. Ed Norton.
I'm gonna.
Like, sorry, Ralph. Thank you for participating. And yes, indeed. So shout out to Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, and the great, comedy series, which was The Honeymooners, which was a skit that went to become, which was a skit that Ralph had, Jackie Gleason had came up with. And so forth. So if you look on Amazon and YouTube, you can find like the early episodes.
One season, man. Let me shout out the chat real quick. I'm gonna shout out some people in the chat. Francisco Carrillo was in the building. Paris Duggar, my man, is in the building. What's good, Paris Duggar? It's good to see you, man. Wesley Robinson is in the building. Nick Yak, what's good, man? Ty Ray, I see you. Wiz is in the building.
Paris, stop playing. Throw some money on the Bucks. What's going on?
Yo, that's my guy. Listen,
I love Paris.
Nobody,
I love Paris.
There's nobody. Nobody. I look
to get his point. To get Paris's point across, he will absolutely $2, $1. It don't matter. $5. It don't matter. To get his point across, to get what he's trying to say out there, and not just for that, but as a support for this channel and other channels.
And other channels too. Yeah,
I've seen him as well. And I'm not taking no shots at any other of Knicks family and so forth. But I'm just talking about as far as the point across. He will absolutely interject in the conversation. Boom. This is what I want to say. So shout out to Parrish. Freezy, did you freeze? Uncle Freezy? All right, you did freeze for a second. So let me hold it down. But yes, as we're in our deja vu, is this 2021? Is this 2023? What are the similarities? I'm not going to lie to you. There are some, because it starts in March, right? And March of 2021, like me and Freezy was saying, Uncle Julius Randle was going on an absolute tear. The Knicks were on a tear. New Orleans Noel was on a tear. Everybody was playing well. I think they won, was it 9 in a row, 8 in a row, something to that effect. And it seemed like they were catching lightning in a bottle as they finished at the number, was it 4 or 5? Somebody just correct me really quickly, because it's Sunday morning into the afternoon, and AD is gonna be AD. You already know what it is. So I think it was 4. And we came into game 1. We lose it. Tibbs did something that reeked of desperation. If you remember, Freezy, and Knick fans out there, he interjected Frank Ntilikina in the end of the game, in game 1. Right? A cold Frank, pause. a cold Frankfurter into the game. And we remember how it worked out. It didn't work out well, right? Game 2. Well, from game 1 into game 2, the reverberation around the city after they won that game, when they came out, they had to have, when Knicks fans came out, they had to have additional crowd control and so forth. And, you got traffic jams and so forth, because the Knicks fans were so irate. They were so happy. They were so boisterous that the Knicks had finally won a playoff game in their building, right? It hadn't since Melo's game 2 against Indiana. I'm not going there, where they actually won a playoff game, and it seemed like we were taking off, because what is Atlanta to us as New Yorkers? It's a second home. It's kind of like Miami. A lot of our roots are from the South, okay? Especially places like Atlanta, where people, they go to retire, they go to Atlanta. Miami, you saw the Knicks crowd this past week in Miami when they were shouting, "Let's go Knicks," over and over again. That the stadium was half built. So in that time, as the Knicks are in Atlanta doing their thing and so forth, or trying to do their thing, we know what happened. They came up short. Is this the same thing? I'm asking the chat. I'm asking Knicks universe. Do you feel like this can be the same thing? Okay, and for those who are watching, Uncle Freezy has a little technical difficulties at this time and so forth. So throw it up in the chat. Do you feel like this is the same thing, or what's the difference? Okay, and as we're going through that, I'm gonna, let's kind of go through the moments. If you remember, Obi Toppin displayed a move that he hadn't did before or done throughout that whole season. He actually drove to the hoop, right? And a move off the dribble. At the time, I was like, whoa, where did you find this, Obi? Right? Where did you find this? And so forth. And it was one of those things that made me at that time go, maybe this kid is something for us to pay more attention to, even though I was feeling like that long before then, right? As far as OB, it's well documented and so forth and so forth. But it was an encouraging feel at that time because OB's our number 8 pick, right? He's our number 8 pick. We're rolling along with him, but Randall is doing what Randall is doing, and the Knicks are the 4th seed, right? So the deja vu for me really comes into place what happens after the season. And yeah, we've touched on this. I've beaten it up. Freezy's beaten it up. Nick Nation has beaten it up. But let's go there and then come forward. They signed Kemba Walker. They signed Fournier. They give out retirement checks to everybody that was on the team that got them to the 4th season. The 4th seed. Excuse me, there's a little background noise there, so bear with me. If you believe it or not, or you believe in the moves or not, the one thing that happened was it didn't propel them forward. Right? The Kemba Walker signing was a disaster. I remember when they signed him, I'm like, or when it was announced that OKC was going to cut him and so forth, there was so much good feeling at that time because what? We remember Kemba Walker as out of the Bronx. Yeah. What was that? Rice? Out of the Bronx. Yeah. He goes to, onto UConn and so forth and goes on that miracle run and they win, in the NCAAs. They win a championship and so forth. And Kemba Walker is like one of the original step backs. Because when he hit you with that and the step, he's sick. He's about as big as him and Brunson is the same thing as far as height. Their games mirror, only thing he's not left-handed, right? When he hit you with, and his step back was not his step back was the hard 2-foot jump fade.
Right.
He does this the whole march, right? From the Big East tournament to NCAAs.
Yep.
So the feeling was, wow, Kemba's gonna rejuvenate. There were whispers that he went to Germany where Kobe went. The knee is gonna be better. Remember, he played 48 games with the Celtics the year before, and he averaged like 19.3 points per game.
On decent efficiency and better 3-point shooting.
So we're thinking as Knicks fans, right? if we can capture that,
right.
that 19, maybe he's not going to give us 19, right? Maybe he's going to give us 17 per night,
right,
and catch fire sometimes.
right.
And I remember saying this to somebody I trust as a Knicks fan. I said, how many games do you think he going to play? I said 60.
Right.
If he plays 60 regular season games, okay, you'll have him for the playoffs. I said 60? Really? 60. He only played 40 some odd the year before.
Right.
We don't know the extent of that injury. Right? And the one thing I know is bone on bone, which I was calling him Bob, not him per se. Not him per se, because I never want to come off as being anything as respectful to Kemba Walker, because he was one of those New York City point guards that should have been featured more in the point guards documentary. But he was one of those guys. He's one of us. You know, he came from this up and grind and so forth. And I was proud to see him there on the press conference when they were bringing him home. But I knew in my soul it was the wrong thing to do. I knew in my soul when the coach shook his hand, it was kind of like, I'm happy to see you, but I really don't want you here. You ever have that moment, Freezy?
Yep.
Somebody in your family, I'm happy to see you.
That's how I felt about Kemba. Because I'm scarred from Kemba. And listen, y'all know at times I could be Petty Murphy, right? You know what I'm saying? Y'all
Not
know
even Charlie Murphy, but Petty Murphy.
Yeah, I could be Petty Murphy sometimes, right? You know what I'm saying? So my thing is I know when Kemba Walker signed with the Celtics, he was gently jabbing the Knicks for not pursuing him harder, right? But the thing about it, though, man, is you don't say stuff about the organization and think we gonna forget it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the whole Kemba thing.
Here's part of the thing with that.
I was not rooting for his demise, but I was not happy to have him here.
Here's part of the thing with that, Freezy. And I heard him say this. He was giving the Knicks an air. He wanted them to bring somebody else along with him because he looked at the roster, and him being from New York, he figures it's going to be a Marbury situation all over again. He didn't say those words exactly, but he said he wanted the Knicks to bring somebody along.
Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, and Zion.
Butler was able to be got.
Right.
Is that even proper English? Who cares?
Right.
Butler was able to be gotten.
English is what you English, and here's the thing: English is what you understand it to be. You know what I'm saying? English is what you understand it to be, because I have family members who may not speak the best English, but you understand them. You know what I'm saying?
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned on this airways before with Emmett Till and his uncle, Darhy.
Yeah.
When he stood up there as one of the bravest black men in history, when he pointed out those people who came and took his nephew.
Yeah.
Darhy.
Yeah.
DARHEE.
Yeah.
Right? Slide on. But they doubled down on that, bringing a man who had never played in a meaningful game outside of his short stint with the Celtics.
Yeah. But in terms of and I get it, man. In terms, And y'all excuse my apps, man. The plug came out in this computer.
It's all right. We got this, baby.
Yeah,
we home, baby.
Yeah, we home, man.
We home, team.
Yeah,
we ready to go. Plug out again if you bad.
Okay. Here we go. Shit. I'm gonna do like Steve Harvey. I'm gonna snatch the plug out the wall. You know,
the plug out the wall. I'll put a camera for a second. Go out. Put on my Steve Harvey suit and come back and come back. Let's get it, baby.
Yeah, man. That was a thing one time. Suit jacket all the way down to your knee. That was a thing one time.
No, that was Steve Harvey thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember the players in this. Don't get me wrong. You know, I never clowned Harvey in his suits because I thought he was smooth. Even when he had the verses with the Isley Brothers and the elements, earth, wind, and fire.
I thought it was going to be a mismatch. I ain't going to lie.
It became a mismatch in the end.
Yeah.
Because when Ron Isley, right, all of a sudden, Mr. Big, in the second half of it, he was having Earth, Wind, and Fire participate on the Isley records.
Yeah.
The Isley records, right?
Yeah.
And that was Easter Sunday coming up on 3 years. Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
All Ron had to do, because it was one of the first verses that actually had fan participation, fan in the crowd. Fans are there. All Ron had to do was come hither. He'd have had every woman up there on his side singing them songs.
Bro.
So that, and this is not something against the elements, because if you know who Earth, Wind, and Fire is, Philip Bailey and all of those cats, who they were, who they are in the music game.
Bro, I'm telling you, what? Bro, I was 12 years old when After the Love Was Gone came out.
After the love is gone.
I was 12 years old, right? That joint, I ain't never going. So I told Mo I ain't gonna tell stories no more because I take up too much of the thing. But at my 6th grade dance at the Spring Fling, my teacher, the one, you know what I'm saying, that I cried when he told me that Clyde Frazier got traded, right? I cried, bro. I was like 8 years old. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm like, he like, bro, you 8 years old, you crying in school. Traded Clyde Frazier for I read it in the Daily News. And my teacher was smoking a cigarette. And this is back in it. This is for all the young heads out here. You couldn't smoke cigarettes in the classroom, but you could smoke cigarettes anywhere else, right? Like you outside on bus duty, you like
them Vinnie Barbarinos.
Yeah.
In them hard leather jackets. In the middle of winter with their hair wet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I remember Mr. Williams telling me, man, they traded Clyde Frazier, bro. I broke down and started crying, bro. I mean, I broke down. You remember that kid that cried when the Knicks drafted Porzingis? I was worse than that, bro. I was like, but they can't. And AD, and under my school shirt, right? Under my school shirt, I had on a Clyde Frazier shirt. What I'm gonna do with my Clyde Frazier shirt now? Clyde Frazier done got traded to Cleveland. Oh man, bro. Jay Boogie is in the building. What's good, man?
Salute, Jay Boogie.
Yeah, man.
What is that? Freezy and AD will be releasing the 1973, a legendary song dedicated to the squad. That's only if you are coming up with the hook, Jay Boogie.
Yeah,
you know what
I
mean? We got that.
All I can do is sing, baby. I'm just singing. Singing, Jay Boogie. I ain't no rapper.
That was my record right there. After the Love Is Gone. What?
Yeah, man. What? That's how I was gonna tell you. The first time I heard it, the first time I heard it, Mr. Williams, the dude that told me Clyde Frazier got traded, I was trying to holler at this girl, and these, you know how 12-year-olds, 11, 12-year-olds have like this weird energy, like they want to be teenagers, but they do like 8-year-old stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they in that weird adolescent place.
Revert back to early adolescence.
Yeah. I'm trying to holler at her, and he like, yo, he look at me like, and so Mr. Williams was like 28, 29, maybe 30. He looked at me, he like, yo, I'm gonna put this joint on and make sure you standing by her, because when I point this joint on, I'm gonna give you the sign. I'm like, what's the sign? He was like,
bang.
so he put the. I'm looking at him the whole time. He's like, why you staring me down, man? Be cool. And I'm looking because I'm waiting for the sign. You know what I'm saying? And so he gave me the sign. He like, hey, Uncle Freezy. And I'm like, oh, take on the sign. Wait. And he like, and so I walk over to the girl. I ask her to dance, and they put on After the Love Is Gone. And it is the first time I hear it. Because I'm thinking he gonna play Ain't No Stopping Us Now or something. Ain't no stop. This is what I'm thinking he gonna play. You know what I'm saying? Or We Are Family or something like that. We Are Family.
Sister Sledge.
Yeah, this is what I think he gonna play, right? This is the era. He put on this slow song, come on, and I can hear the crackling on the record player, and he played After the Love Is Gone. And I'm like, what? In my mind, I'm like, ew. What? But I danced.
You didn't know the power of the elements,
bro. I was 12.
My first really dance, I think I might have mentioned this last year sometime. With the opposite sex, obviously. So it's Earth, Wind, and Fire, Reasons.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I always have a special place in my heart for that song. Whenever I hear the top 50, whatever, when I don't see Reasons on the list, it don't mean nothing to me.
Right.
The list don't mean nothing to me because Reasons was, you know what I'm saying? Reasons was like my moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like literally, the girl is right there to my right. Of course, on my strong side, my right side, right? So I'm there, and then my heart is pumping, right? My feelings inside me is going, because I'm a Gemini, so the other half of me is going, what you doing?
Yeah, you. Geminis always have split decisions.
Yeah,
it's never unanimous.
The other half is going, what you doing? What you doing? Like she's right here, and you about to lose it. It's kind of like that in the movie The Wood, as the Luther Vandross record is playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's wasting the moment, the time, and it was kind of like that. That's why I love that movie, because it was like the same thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't wait as long because I wouldn't have had that second opportunity or that next opportunity to make things right. So, I finally, took her hand, and we were doing. I don't even know if I had my steps right. I just knew they were close.
I did it right. I didn't even realize I was 12 years old. And yo, bro, AD, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. I was 12 years old. I thought I was a man, bro. This is what manhood is about right here. I'm 12. I'm a grown man.
This is
man.
It.
Hey, and for the chat. Yeah, and for the chat, the reason why I tell the story is like, so you can kind of understand in my Knicks fandom, like where I am and how all these side stories relate to me being a ridiculous Knicks fan. You know what I'm saying? See, because Mr. Williams,
you gonna have me go through the Earth, Wind, and Fire shit when this shit is over.
You're right. Yes,
for real.
Yo,
elements.
And Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? But Mr. Williams and them, they was like a generation ahead of me as Knicks fans, right? So they knew, they was alive for like that Knicks run that I always tell people about. The greatest Knicks run in team history from 68 to like 73, 74, when the Knicks were relevant on the radar every year, right? See, I wasn't alive. I mean, I was alive, but I was a baby, bro.
I claim
you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was a baby for most of that.
For all of y'all who didn't know, I've seen the championship. I was alive.
Right.
Technically, I'm not like y'all.
Right.
Okay? Y'all separation it's not even nowhere near your birth certificates.
Right.
I was alive.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And shout out to Jay Boogie. Jay Boogie, thank you for the generous contribution. Jay Boogie says the song is already done. We already got Josh Hart. The chat don't know that y'all are the two original lead lost singers of the 5 Heartbeats. A heart is a house.
Oh, love. And I learned that it doesn't make a thing without a heart. What? Those are what the Dells? The Dells.
Yeah, the Dells.
Yeah, the Dells.
Man, the lead singer of the Dells. What?
Dells. Absolutely.
Oh, bro.
Jay Boogie, you ain't said nothing but a thing right there. The 5 Heartbeats.
Yes. Yes. One of the dopest fictional biopics ever.
When my man comes out and things aren't going right for them when they hired the manager,
right,
in that big talent show,
right,
and they had it rigged against them.
Yep.
And everybody's choir boy runs off the stage, and this one is doing that, whatever. And Eddie Kane grabs that microphone, boy.
Yes.
For me, from there on, it's Eddie Kane and the Heartbeats.
Yep. From then on,
I'm gonna help y'all out. Okay? He saved everything. He made a woman have an orgasm on screen,
right,
in front of her friends,
and right? in front of 3,000 people.
In front of 3,000 people, and just laid her down.
Yeah,
gently. And he picked her up.
He like, what you want me to do with her right now?
I mean, what we do with her right now? This is the Billy D extension of you want my hand to fall off, but Eddie Kane gets up with her and laid her down. It should have been Eddie Kane and the 4 Heartbeats the rest of the way, because it was over.
Right.
It was his mother jumped up in the middle of the session and was like, "That's my baby."
Yeah.
Right? And if any of you have those kind of relationships with your moms, and shout out to our mothers.
Shout out to the moms.
You know what I'm saying? Every day is Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you know that kind of, and Knicks point guard Mark Jackson's mother, when in the point guards documentary, she was like the biggest fan.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it starts from the root. The confidence that you get is generally from your mom.
Yeah.
Because you can't do no wrong in her eyes. And shout out to my mom, Vivian.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, and it's one of them things too, man. And so it's why I like the AD. It's like why I like to expand here on old school Knicks, because you got to have like some backstory. People got to understand where you coming from. When you talk your old school Knicks talk, you know what I'm saying? It's like establishing a connection, like plugging into the outlet, so you'll know. Like for instance, I don't come from the ESPN, SNY era Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I come from the WWOR Channel 9 Knicks. You know what I'm saying? They used to come on 10:30 at night on when the Knicks were playing.
Beard.
Yeah, when the Knicks were playing the Kings. Yes.
I heard them as you say that, because I think when we talked a little bit before the show, I was like, yo, I'm watching game 6. Boston against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. And there's a play, and for those who don't remember, Danny Ainge and Darryl Walker had a fight, I think in like game 1 or game 2.
of course, Danny Ainge and Darryl.
This is of course, Danny Ainge is a part of it because he's just that kind of guy.
He was Grayson Allen.
Yes, he was that kind of agitator.
Yep.
You know, and him and Darryl Walker said so Carvelis and Butch Bader, they're kind of sliding over it because in Game 6 it's getting really chippy because the Knicks are down 3-2.
Was Eddie Jordan on the team then?
I don't remember if Eddie Jordan on the team. He might have been on the bench because he wasn't in the.
Okay.
I don't remember him in today's game. He definitely wasn't in the game. It was a Ray Williams, Sparrow, your favorite, Cartwright, my least favorite, Chuck Robinson, and Jesus in tennis shoes, Bernard King.
Bernard King, right.
And they're telling, because Bernard King and McHale had words, and I totally forgot that. They had more than words. They had to be separated.
Multiple times.
In this game, multiple times, because Bernard is letting them know that you're not doing this in our house. But they had proclaimed before the season started that Bernard would not get a 40-point game against him.
Okay.
Bernard has 3.
So Eddie Jordan never played for the Knicks. Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Yeah, but Bernard King goes off.
He has 3 against him. 3.
And AD, just real quick, I want you to continue telling your joint. But let me just express to everybody how important Bernard King having 3 40-point games are. At the time that Bernard King gets these 3 40-point games, the Knicks are facing K.C. Jones, the equivalent of Tom Thibodeau.
Defensively, right? Yeah.
Defensively. Like K.C. Jones. The only knock on K.C. Jones is that he was not a creative offensive coach, but that man knew defense back and forward. You know what I'm saying?
Because he was a big time defensive guard in his day.
Yes. A
big time player in his day. Excuse me.
Right, and that's why when AD said that this dude had 3 40-point games. This is not. Don't think of it as 40 points in today's NBA. Think of it like 55, 60 in today's NBA.
Yeah, because he would have taken a couple of threes.
Yeah. And the rules were different. The rules, you could do anything to anybody back then, and the referees called offensive foul back then,
and you weren't getting suspended.
Right.
For multiple games.
Right.
You weren't even getting suspended for a game. You had to fight. You had to dust up. You know what I mean?
You may have gotten kicked out of this game.
Yeah, you're getting kicked out of the game.
The next game.
You're back for the next game.
Yeah.
That was for me, at least, as a basketball fan, a part of the allure of the game at that time.
Right.
It was rivalry. I didn't know.
And you got tired of playing each other, bro.
Yeah. I didn't know of other people who weren't Knicks fans. There was your 1-2, like your John Sallies of the world and people like that. And to their whatever, it was always an LA thing.
Yeah.
Right? It was always.
But there were no Bulls fans around, bro, in the city. There were no Chicago Bulls fans around.
There was no Bulls team.
Well, there was a Bulls team,
There was a Bulls team,
but there was
no Bulls team.
They were trash. Like there were no Golden State Warriors fans walking around New York City, bro. There were no San Diego Clipper, LA Clippers fans walking around. Man, there was no Portland, and Portland was good, but there was no Portland fan. The only thing cats my age like about Portland. Yeah, the only thing
they were their fans in their region.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is to kids growing up and say 74, 75, 76. The only thing we liked about Portland was their logo. It looked like a spinner. We didn't quite know what it was.
Their logo was hot.
So yeah.
Their logo was still hot.
Yeah, and same thing with Seattle. Like when we saw Seattle, we didn't like their team, but we just knew they had ugly colors, right? And then they had the Space Needle because back then,
ugly colors.
Back then, outer space was, man, back in the late 60s, early 70s, bro, anything related to outer space, and everybody was doing it. I mean,
because they were out of space.
Yeah, the Houston Rockets, the Space Needle, like all this stuff, the Houston Astros, all this stuff, man, was space related, bro. And
the Astrodome.
Yes.
The eighth wonder of the world.
They couldn't grow grass indoors, so they created AstroTurf.
Yeah. Ali's the first one. Ali's the first one to pack that stadium.
Yeah.
Ali Sphinx. Ali Sphinx 1. Or was that Ali Sphinx 2? That's Ali Sphinx 2.
No, was it Ali Sphinx 2?
Yes, Ali Sphinx 2. May have been. Sold out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
At that time is what? 80 or 90,000 people.
Yeah, man, and that was a lot back then.
The Astrodome is a lot today because I think only Jerry World I think can accommodate that many
indoors. Yeah,
indoors.
Yeah,
the Astrodome was doing that back in the late 70s. If not like in 80 something like that.
That was crazy, bro.
Yeah, it was like the new. We all need to go see it type of deal. And he, Sphinx 2, he packs the house.
Yep. So I didn't mean to pull us off the path about Bernard King. I wanted to throw that out there that Casey Jones and the Boston Celtics were an excellent defensive team. And the fact that my man got 40 points 3 separate times is equivalent to somebody scoring 55, 60 in 3 straight games today.
Yeah, it totally was. Because the way how they defended him, especially I was watching that game 6, and he doesn't have, I think Carvelis goes, well, Bernard only scored 2 baskets in the second half. And it's like Bernard heard it. He only has from the free throw line, it's like Bernard heard it.
Right.
And then he goes off.
Right.
In the 4th.
Right.
And this is like mid-4th. He then goes off.
Yep.
I think what he ends up with 46 or something like that, or 48.
All mid-range. Just a mid-range and just
mid-range, the break.
All right, but before I drag you into this Knicks versus Celtics argument debate that I'm forced to have with you, I want to ask you, of all the Knicks that you have ever seen, who is the most beautiful scorer? The most poet, like who was poetry in motion to you as a scorer for the Knicks? I was told it was Allen Houston.
No.
I was told you better not tell AD if AD disagree with Allen Houston. AD don't know basketball. Basically, is what I was told.
It's not Allen.
It's
not Allen. It's nowhere near Allen.
If you was born in 86, you can't really have this debate, man. You know what I'm saying?
Allen. Because for me, right, Allen is at Allen's best is Game 6 against Indiana. When he's torching them, right?
Not Game 5 against Miami.
No.
Okay, all right.
Game 6 against Indiana propels them to the finals. And they're at home. And I think Allen had just had his first seed. And this is after it's Miami, Atlanta, Indiana.
Yep.
And he gets better, right, as the time goes on. But it's not him. Because for me, when you're talking about scoring and poetry in motion, a scorer has to want to score all the time.
All the time, bro.
Allen was the kind of person he'd be all right with 15 shots.
Yeah.
He'd be okay with 10, 12 shots.
Right.
And that's the difference. And I'm not killing him against the Spurs, right? But
no, we ran into a buzzsaw.
You ran into a buzzsaw. But for me, if Latrell got 35 in game 5 or game 6, whatever it was, I got 35, 40. Right. Because the offense is geared around me first, him second.
Right.
But he's just more aggressive.
Right.
And that's where Allen, on a day in, day out, he's not aggressive like that.
He's a system scorer.
Okay.
That's if the
but
shots
he could shoot.
Yeah, if the shots were there, he'd take them. It's kind of what I see. And listen, I know the chat is gonna kill me for this, but it's kind of where I see Quentin Grimes being in 2 years. Not Klay Thompson. Don't talk to me about no Klay Thompson or no Kiki Vandeweghe or no guy like that. I'm thinking in 2 years. In 2 years, we'll be talking about Quentin Grimes like how we talk about Allen Houston, but not right now. And don't even try to have a conversation with me right now. I'm talking about Knicks version of Allen Houston. I'm not talking about Detroit Pistons.
Here's the thing,
Allen Houston.
But see, here's the thing with that, Uncle Freezy. It's what does he see for himself?
I understand I got you.
So what does he see for himself?
Right.
Because a system player is only going to get paid a certain amount of system dollars.
Right. Right.
You know, I've talked about his game and what I saw from him coming into the league and so forth. So that's documented. Right.
Okay.
If you're a role player, you'll get paid as a role player.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with being a role
player. There's nothing wrong with being a role player. But he has to make that determination, you know, and see that within himself. Is that what he is?
Right.
And if that's what he is, cool. Because you could make a good living as a role player.
A great living, yep.
You know what I'm saying? You could be memorable as a role player.
Right, like a John Starks almost.
Well, Starks wasn't a role player. Starks was a part of, as you already stated, Starks was part of driving the bus on certain days.
Yeah.
A lot of days.
A lot of days.
There's a difference between him and somebody who goes to help you fix the flat.
That is true. I got you.
See, you can fix the flat and can't drive.
Right.
You ever been in a situation in the car with a woman?
Yeah.
And it hits you in the back of the head like you can't drive.
Yeah.
At that time,
I'm
saying at that time, you know, early stages of our games and so forth. You know what I mean? Like you had to be on point, and even if you wasn't on point, you were the driver.
Right. No doubt.
So he has to make that decision in his career. What does he want to be? And be real with himself. What does his skill level says that he has on this level?
How do you look back? How do you because the sweetest scorer thing is kind of up for debate, because I guess ultimately you have to ask, like, well, how long are you talking about? Are you talking about for a season? 2 seasons?
I mean just forever. Like I've seen Ewing in moments that was just awesome.
Poetry in motion.
Like there's a game I remember him against early Charlotte playing against Randy Brewer.
You remember Randy Brewer?
Wow! It was early Minnesota. No, it's Minnesota.
Right.
And he absolutely gives it to them. Gave it to all of their centers. Left hand, right hand, left shoulder, right shoulder, hook, fade.
Right.
3. Whatever you wanted.
Right.
Whatever you wanted. See, for me, when you talk about poetry motion, that and it's when they call timeout and they're walking back to the bench, like how Randall was the other night against Miami.
Right.
It's don't forget, I'll be right back.
Right. Right.
I'll be right back.
Right.
And you're gonna get some more of this work.
Randy Brewer was 7'3", bro.
Yeah, it's not in the Allen Houston kind of way where I don't want to say he was satisfied in moments, but it's not like I'm gonna pour it on you. Like I'm gonna pour it. I've seen Ewing in moments like that. I've seen Melo in moments like that. I'm gonna pour it on you.
I loved to see Pat Ewing against David Robinson, bro. I loved it, and not because here's the thing. Here's the thing. There were centers around back then that were good that people don't give them credit for, like Jack Sigma. Man, Jack Sigma, once he got to his jump shot, bro, he was unstoppable. Once he got the ball here, it was over. You know what I'm saying? But Pat Ewing was a combination of, and this is when people ask me what Patrick Ewing was, like I can't give them a definitive thing because Pat Ewing gave you the Elijah Wan at times, the David Robinson at times, the Jack Sigma at times, and against old centers, he would give you the Shaq at times. Like the old school centers, Pat would just bully them and dunk on them, bro.
It took a minute for him to dominate Robert Parrish.
Yeah.
Because Parrish used to dominate him or push him around.
Right. You're talking about 86. You're talking about, I'm sorry, 87.
Early Pat. I'm talking about Pat's first like you're talking about 2.5 years.
David Robinson, Pat, you talking about the skinny athletic Pat that was more of an athlete than a skill player Pat.
He was
the
right.
Pat.
Parrish was in his head.
Right.
And Parrish was very physical. Parrish was still very good. Parrish was good for a long time.
Yeah. Don't think
Robert Parrish was good for a long time. Like Robert Parrish could be like at the end of his career, he could come on, he could be on your bench as your backup center for a couple of minutes.
Right.
He was good for a long, long time. That's a name.
And James Edwards.
Yeah. Edwards? But with Parrish, though, Parrish had more skill level than James Edwards.
But James Edwards had that fadeaway. And you
James Edwards had a sweet fade, but Parrish could give you. I literally remember him on the early days of my basketball fantasy team.
Okay.
Like literally drafting him like in the second round. It was like, yo, why don't you take Robert Parrish? Because he would give you some scoring, solid on the boards, and he could block shots. And we had all that point system in a cavemanish days way back when.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, yo, AD, you got Pat? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He was, and he used to get in Ewing's head for a long time. It's not until, Ewing's crescendo of his coming out party against Boston in that game 5 when he finally shook him off, and it was a beautiful thing after that. But it took that moment. It was like coming into that series, the Knicks get crushed their first 2 games.
Yep. Thank you, Kenny Walker. I remember watching Kenny Walker getting subbed into game 1, and they go straight to the Mikhail ISO. And I'm like, who's this dude wearing number 34? I can't remember. Like, who's 34? Yeah. Was it? I don't know if it was
early.
Before, early Kenny Walker.
The team was going through, because that's Ewing's best statistical season, which is the 89-90 season.
Right.
The Stu Jackson year.
I think the most impactful season was the next season, but the numbers weren't necessarily there.
Well, what Stu did, Stu finally made him the centerpiece. Patino kind of got him back to what he was in Georgetown. Or not kinda. His system, the trapping, the running, the defense, whatever, him utilizing his superior athletic gifts at that time.
Right.
To like maybe only to, well, athletically, he's better than Olajuwon athletically.
Right.
Especially early.
Come on, it's not a comp
early.
It's not even a comparison early.
Because he's bigger, faster, stronger.
Right.
Olajuwon is, you know what I'm saying? Olajuwon has better equilibrium. Let me say that.
Right.
Balance to everything.
Right.
Nifty. See what I'm saying? Right? But big, strong, fast, that's Pat.
Right.
Patino got him back to that.
Right.
To utilizing him in the trapping and so forth, but Patino never featured him. In Patino's system, Mark Jackson was the man. That's just facts.
I kind of liked it.
But it's an all over, because here's the thing. As much as we love Mark, especially me, because Mark kind of galvanized Pat, because Mark is the head of the snake, right? Mark and his, he don't look like he can run a fast break system. Look at 87, 88.
Yeah.
As a rookie, I think he's averaging like 10 and a half assists a game as a rookie. Right? He galvanizes Pat. But Stu Jackson made him a offensive force.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
All I remember Stu Jackson for is letting Pat Ewing shoot jump shots.
Pat had everything in that 80. Pat has a game in that season. He drops 51 against Boston. As we're on this Boston thing
you
here.
Say Boston, is Boston your biggest rival?
No, it's Miami. It's Miami.
See, I had the same confliction.
It's Miami.
I was, last week was rivalry week, right? We played Boston on Monday, Brooklyn on Wednesday, Miami on Friday. So it was like rivalry week, right?
Right.
And I was telling people all week, even before the Boston game, that the game that I look forward the most was the Miami game.
It's the Miami game. It's always the Miami game.
But for a old school Knicks fan like myself, my first real true rivalry was Boston, and then Philadelphia made us their rival because they bullied us. And I don't know if old school Knicks fans remember how physical the Sixers used to be with the Knicks. Darryl Walker coming to the rim, they just catch him in the air and just throw him on the ground. They don't care nothing about no foul. They don't care about getting kicked out the game. Moses Malone used to.
Well, for me, it's Miami because of it's the natural theater.
Right. It's because of Pat Riley.
We didn't lose our coach to Philly.
I understand.
See what I'm saying? We were just like little brothers on the, trying to come up. It was the opposite in the 90s.
But
Miami was trying to come up. Miami was an expansion team.
I understand. And that's why, for that reason, they can't be our rivals.
Yeah, it is, because you know why?
Because Miami was finesse before that. Miami was
there wasn't nothing before that. They didn't have a system. There was nothing.
Yeah, before, but I'm talking Khalid Reeves.
Khalid Reeves
and Ronnie Cycli,
Willie Halliburton.
Yeah,
and and a young Glenn Rice and all of that, but they was nothing. I don't even remember their style of play. I just know that they had hot uniforms. Right. Rex Chapman and all of them, I remember they had hot uniforms.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when the Knicks are the uncrowned champions of the 90s. Okay? They're the uncrowned champions of the 90s.
The Utah Jazz will probably have an argument for that.
Whatever.
Us in Utah for the entire 90s, yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Start to finish. Start to finish.
Whatever.
Right, because the Lakers were good in the early 90s and at the end of the 90s, but not in the middle.
But they don't have a person in the organization that has championship blood.
I know this.
Championship rituals, thinking about championships on a day in, day out basis like we had with Riley. When the Knicks lost to Riley, they lost like a part of their soul. They lost like their left leg.
I understand.
See what I'm saying? So that's where the rivalry comes from with me. You know, like seeing Chris Childs go through literal torture against Hardaway. That man is one of the best on-ball defenders this game has ever seen.
Chris Childs.
Right? Feet-wise, one of the best on-ball defenders this game has ever seen. Tim Hardaway literally gives that man, to this day, I know he sees those jumpers in his dreams.
Yes.
Because you couldn't defend him any better.
Right.
And he would just walk into threes.
Him and he, excuse me, him and Dan Marley together.
But him in that 97, I'm talking about 90 because that's the best of Tim Hardaway with Miami. Is that Miami. 90? Is that 97, 98-ish? But he absolutely would just good gosh, man.
Right.
And you had to play him off because if you try to play him too, he would hit you with the
right.
Okay. And this is post knee injury, Hardaway.
Right.
So the rivalry, you know, with into mourning Larry Johnson, their fight the following year.
Right.
That no one connected a punch, but it sure didn't look like it sure didn't look like they were staggering.
The league suspended people off that fake fight.
Dude, they not one punch connected.
Right. Is that when Van Gundy was grabbing on
yes.
Yeah.
That's when Van Gundy looked like bubblegum on morning shoe.
Yes.
You know, when he decided to get into it. And to Jeff's credit, Jeff didn't get in. Jeff was running out there to break things up.
Right.
Jeff wasn't going out there to go fight Alonzo Mourning. Right? Yeah. But it's how it turned out. As he's kind of like, hey guys, remember Jeff is like 5'7", right?
Yes.
Hey guys, you know, you got colossal of men, you know, converging on him. He loses his balance. He's holding on for dear life, and he happens to be holding on to Alonzo Mourning.
A brick wall, basically.
And Alonzo was kind of like with his right leg trying to get Jeff off of him. It's like, yo, he's literally flexing his leg while Jeff is holding on with. This is a human being. A human being is holding on to one person's leg, and Mourning is still going like this, flexing him off his leg.
Right. I agree with you on Chris Childs. That team as a whole, though, I think the combination of Childs and Charlie Ward together defensively was pretty elite. And we forget that Charlie Ward played 10 seasons for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? 10
and
seasons.
Every one of them, we were trying to trade him.
He ain't good enough. Yeah. It's like the Stars era.
Every single season that Charlie Ward played here with the Knicks, we had dreams of another point guard.
Of some type of upgrade.
Type of upgrade.
Yep. Same thing with Starks.
That man was the most villain. He was. People don't remember this. Like, it was like, when he's going to play football?
Yeah. You remember that early on?
Okay. When he's going to play football?
Every summer was, the Minnesota Vikings are down at quarterback.
They're offering a tryout. Yeah. We're kind of ushering Charlie out the door.
Right.
Charlie, why don't you go take that tryout?
Yeah.
We didn't realize that, you know what? We had a pretty good point guard combination.
Charlie Ward was a pretty decent backup type point guard
that could start. And he started most of those games.
Yeah, he started a lot of games. He played over 500
most games. Of those games.
Yeah.
Charlie Ward up until Barrett had the only re-up rookie contract.
Yep.
In the last 20 years, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
No other rookie the Knicks drafted, they saw fit.
What, they didn't re-sign John Thomas?
No.
I love throwing John Thomas' name out there because nobody.
I don't know why. There's no game footage of John Thomas, Uncle Freezy. I'm here to remind you of that.
There's no game footage of John. And you know why? Because he was trash.
There's no game footage of the gentleman that they end up drafting when Steph Curry went to Golden State. What's his name? The forward.
Jordan Hill.
Jordan Hill.
I keep wanting to call him Jonah Hill. That's why I had to pause.
There's no game footage of Jordan Hill ever playing with them.
Oh my God, that dude was so trash. But even then, though, when the Knicks missed on Steph Curry, they could have easily picked Drew Holiday or DeMar DeRozan, but they panicked.
They could have picked Jennings.
Yes, they could have picked. Yep. Yeah. So the Steph Curry thing in my mind is not we missed on Steph Curry. Hey, we also missed on Drew Holiday and DeMar DeRozan. So there's that. So let me say this one thing about tonight's game, bro. I just want to say this one thing about tonight's game.
Let's go.
And going forward.
Uh-huh.
If the Knicks beat the Celtics in the Garden tonight without Jalen Brunson, who's questionable with a knee injury, with a leg injury.
Brunson's playing.
I think that is a clear shot across the bow of the Celtics. Like, this thing that y'all have done with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown has gotten y'all 0 championships, and now here comes the Knicks.
Well,
because we know Philly is historically, and you've been a fan 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Historically, you know that Philadelphia is basically a second round playoff team, no better. They're Philadelphia, the 76ers are not a championship contender. Historically, even when they had Iverson, they had Allen Iverson for 1,000,000 years and made the finals once. You know what I'm saying? They had Wilt Chamberlain, right? They had Dr. J and won 1 championship. You know what I'm saying? So they got Joel Embiid and have not been to the finals yet.
Well,
they had Charles Barkley.
Well, that's the travesty. I don't know if Embiid is the travesty per se. But let me ask you something as we get on that topic. I mean, let's stay current for a second.
Right.
There was a conversation over this past week as far as, Joker gonna win the MVP because it was led to because he's white. And his overall game does not state that he should win a third MVP because of whatever and so forth. Did you hear this?
Yeah, I hear it a lot.
Thoughts?
People are crazy. This cat, Jokic can flat out play, and just because you don't look the part, don't mean you can't execute the part. This cat Jokic can flat out ball, and he does it from a center position that is supposed to be extinct. You know what I'm saying? So for him to do it at a high level with on a team that, quite frankly, I feel like has overrated talent, I think only speaks to how great that man is. Right? Now, if Jokic was doing this in the Garden, all the accolades, 2-time MVP, all the wins, blah, 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 I think the Knicks would already be considering retiring his jersey. Right? But since he does it in Denver, Colorado, in an era where everybody gets TV exposure, and in their market, they have the 2-time MVP and don't even have their own TV deal, just only goes all the stereotypes that you can amass on this man to take away from his greatness is basically what's happening in my mind. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when Larry Bird was in his prime in the early 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were legit like the Dr. J. You know, so all these cats that were really good in the early 80s.
Right.
You know the names: Dr.
Right.
J, Norm Nixon, Bernard King,
Right.
all these guys. Ooh, I got a name for you that defies stereotypes and probably make you laugh. Kelly Tripucka. He was the white guy that was the anti-white guy. You know what I'm saying?
The perm.
The perm, yeah. He was Saturday Night Fever. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He was, yeah.
Shout out to Kelly Tripucka, the perm.
Yeah, dudes that can flat out score, right? Mm-hmm. But Larry Bird was a weapon, bro. Right? Larry Bird was a dude that scored 40 points on a team with his right hand because he was bored. I'm sorry, with his left hand because he was bored. Right? Larry Bird was so hot against the Hawks that the Hawks were rooting for him in a game.
Yes, they were.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they were.
I mean, the dude. So when it comes to cats like Joker, bro, Joker is so good that I think people are basically what happens is people get tired of your greatness. People get tired of your greatness. It's the reason why Michael Jordan didn't win the MVP every year of his career when we know
he was
Mike should have won the MVP every year of his career.
Practically, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, he robbed. Now they gave it to the one he won over Pat Ewing in Pat's best year. You know they gave that MVP. They gave Mike that MVP.
Well, Pat should have won it twice, but let me stay on this Joker thing here because since we brought it into conversation,
right?
I heard some local radio people, one which happened to be white. You know, he got into his feelings while I was listening to the conversation. I didn't hear the original conversation yet. I just heard his response. Okay. Right.
Okay.
So I'm listening. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. You know, but with Joker, you've heard me talk about Joker before. Joker's just Joker. You know what I mean? He's just different.
Right.
You can run offense with him all day, every day, and the efficiency is going to work out in your favor. He just hasn't gotten to the finals yet, right? Which he needs to do.
Right.
So I'm not taking that away from him. When I heard the original conversation, the original conversation doesn't start with, is Joker winning MVP because he's white? That wasn't it. It was some other thing, but that part of it came into it, but that wasn't the original conversation. So when I heard that, I said, well, here's the point that you could have made. If you want to talk about white ball players in the league, and the league literally tipping its hand for white ball players, is there where you're going. You would have to go back 20 years when they were importing everything big that looked like Dirk.
Right.
The Marseille Lampeys. The Frederick Nuts Weiss.
Right.
And we know why he gets the nuts.
Right.
A man's testicle literally grazed the top of your head.
Right.
Okay? That's why you get that. And players like that, the league was literally purging itself during the whole baggy pants, Allen Iverson era and so forth. They were literally consciously bringing in white ball players from the international realm, that a lot of these guys, they weren't as good as the American ball players. So if you want to go there with it, I'm there with you all day, every day. Joker doesn't deserve that.
Right.
Because he's good.
Right.
He's just flat out good.
Right.
And if he was on the Knicks, right, instead of, KP, in that era, whatever, you'd have won the championship by now, or you'd have gotten to the finals.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have gotten to the finals.
Okay. All right. Hey, man. Okay. Right now, my MVP is Luka.
No, I'm having difficulties with Luka as time goes on, and Luka to me right now, and I hate to say this about him because he's a brilliant offensive
he's a
machine.
Savant. Yeah,
he's giving me Allen Iverson vibes.
In terms of Allen Iverson impact,
I'm getting Iverson vibes in the terms of it's hard to play with him.
Oy.
His usage is so much.
Right.
I watched the game the other day. And I want to watch them more with him and Kyrie together. But it's Kyrie, from what I watched that game, it's Kyrie playing off him, right, or wait till Luka gets to the bench.
Right.
I'm getting an Iverson vibes with him. I'm like, you can't win a championship with one person being the everything. It's not going to work. One man is not going to beat five.
Right. It's not, and the game is not designed to be that way.
No. Like, you can't play. Luka off the ball is almost useless.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to do it.
Okay.
And when he's off the ball, what he wants to do is talk to the ref.
Right.
To consistently be a pain in the ass during the game.
Okay. All right. Well,
I used to kill Randall for that. And recently, I've watched Randall play a lot off the ball.
You got to watch, man. Yo, I'm not trying to shift the thing to Randall.
No, but I'm not doing that.
I honestly believe. Yeah, I understand. I'm with you, but what I'm saying is I honestly believe that Randall has been great for longer than we give him credit for. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I don't want to get into like all the other stuff.
We're not gonna do that because there's better meat out there. Let me
because I wanted because listen,
meat out there.
I wanted to talk to you in these last say 20 minutes or so about the Knicks dethroning the Boston Celtics.
What do you mean dethroning them? They're not defending champions. What the hell
I
are you talking
understand that.
about?
I understand, and for that reason, I want to talk to you about it.
What are you talking about?
And see, because the Boston Celtics, in my mind, the perception is they're anointed as the next great thing before they accomplished anything, right? And I'm here to say, I think the Knicks can pull the carpet from up under them and Milwaukee. Shot fired.
Wow.
Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. Yes.
I've tried.
Uncle Freezy is pulling. Hey, pull the trigger, man. Yep. That's me. I got it. I got you.
Stop eating that curry goat, please.
Yeah, I know. Pull the trigger. Yeah. I got. Yeah. So let me start.
You already started.
Let me
continue.
Let me continue. Mm-hmm. by saying this about the Celtics. Do they have the top end talent? Do they have the best top end talent in the Eastern Conference? Yes. Is Giannis and Jason Tatum, are they comparable? No. Giannis is a league MVP, multiple league MVP. He's a great defender.
Tatum should be in that conversation as
right. He's barely in that conversation, but what helps Tatum's case is he has Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and others.
Yeah, but he's an excellent ball player.
Yeah, I'm not denying that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that the dude is a slouch. What I'm saying is if Giannis is a 10, Tatum is a 9, assisted by Brown, who's an 8, and Marcus Smart, who's a 7.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As opposed to Giannis being a 10, Drew Holiday maybe being a 7, Chris Middleton, this version of Chris Middleton being a 7. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is the overall makeup of talent on both rosters are made up in different ways, but I think for the most part, they're even. Now, is Julius Randle in the Giannis category? No, hell no. Is he in the Jason Tatum conversation? No, hell no, not even close.
But then the conversation ends.
No, but no.
Then the conversation ends.
No, you can't do it. No,
then if you think, and I'm not to cut you, but I'm gonna cut you. If you think that the Knicks are at the level of competing against Boston and, dare I say, Milwaukee
and Philadelphia.
And Philadelphia, I already had them because I think we can compete with them off top, right? Off the top, then it comes back to this. Julius Randle will have had to take in his game to where those superstars take their games, because you're not going to win a championship, Freezy. You're not going to get to a championship level without your star players being star players.
Right. But that's where you
can't go around that.
You cut me off prematurely.
Yeah, but that's because I see you about to start signifying, you know,
right?
And I don't want you to signify on
you. Think I'm about to make something up out of the blue? No. What I'm saying is this. What I'm adding to it is this: where those teams, where Milwaukee only beat the Knicks. And this is me looking at game tape. This is not me thinking about Milwaukee's greatness. This is Milwaukee versus New York 1-on-1. Period. Mm-hmm. This is not me looking at stats. This is not me on all these stat websites. I'm paying all these stupid prescriptions. Bro, yo, for those of y'all in the chat, if y'all thinking about doing a channel, we spend about $100 a month on these websites that give us stats and stuff, man. It's ridiculous. Right? Just for stuff to talk about, just for data. It's ridiculous, right? But Milwaukee beat the Knicks based off of one thing, right? And that one thing is Brook Lopez made 3-pointers over the top of Mitchell Robinson in the corner. And at the end of the game, a non-3-point shooter in Drew Holiday made 3-pointers over the top of Quentin Grimes in multiple games. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All the star power that we just mentioned was out the window when it came down to clutch moments. Brook Lopez hit 3-pointers in the corner because Mitchell Robinson didn't get out on him. And Drew Holiday hit threes over the top of Quentin Grimes. Now, in the same scenario, do you leave Quentin Grimes on Drew Holiday, or do you have Josh Hart or Emmanuel quickly defend Drew Holiday? Yes. Right? And in those same moments, do you think Brook Lopez can knock down those corner threes in clutch moments over Mitch? I have to take my chances.
Okay.
When I saw us and Milwaukee play each other, it didn't come down to a Giannis versus Julius Randle. It came down to those plays, right?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Now, when it comes to Boston, we beat Boston the last time we played them. They were out without Jaylen Brown. And what I'm saying to you tonight, Boston has this game circled on their schedule. They feel like they got to beat the Knicks. Because if they don't beat the Knicks tonight, the Knicks send a message to the NBA that New York, we here. Right? Right? And the other thing too, just one last thing. Mm-hmm. The last time we played the Sixers pulled away from us late because we didn't have a wing player that can rebound or deflect the ball or none of that stuff. That same week, we went out and traded for Josh Hart. Philadelphia, you on notice. I think Philadelphia knows they're on notice. I think Boston knows they're on notice. I think Milwaukee knows they're on notice. I'm here to tell you this version of the Knicks, and I'm not trying to get the chat hyped up. I'm actually trying to calm my own self down. I'm trying not to jump out the window for what I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm here to say that this team is not deja vu of 2021. Mm-hmm. This team is deja vu from 1999. And what I'm going to say to you is 2000, we're going to party like it's 1999.
You know, the beauty about that record is that Dionne Warwick so eloquently drops her vocals all over that is that it's written by Isaac Hayes.
What?
Yeah. And it's during a time I think they were having a moment, you know, and they do a duet of it live as well as a record, but it's the Dionne's version that's the, you know, that's the staple. But I say that to say, Uncle Freezy, your simplicity of how the Knicks can weave through these foes, it's with merit, but it's too simple. Right?
All right.
Okay. When I say that Julius would have to up his game as in the star player or whatever, everything reverberates around the star players.
Right.
Okay. You remember a few years ago when LeBron was talking about Jordan and Jordan didn't do everything and everything didn't come down to Jordan, blah, 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 blah. You know, right. As he was muttering and stuttering and whatever, as he was, you know, talking about his greatness.
Right.
And he cited the game against Phoenix, right? Where Paxton, I think was it Kerr hit the shot? I think Kerr hits the shot.
Okay.
Right? Like yourself, in this analogy, you forget that although Jordan doesn't hit the shot as the star against Phoenix's star, which is Barkley, the defense, the strategy, and everything is to stop Jordan.
Right. Yep.
It's Jordan who makes the pass.
Okay.
It's Jordan who dictates, I'm going to give you your time to shine. I could rise and cock and fire from 30, but that's not the play that's drawn up.
Right.
That's not how we got here. Okay? So when I say it's Randall, it's not just Randall, his scoring, it's his playmaking ability. It's what he does in those moments as the best player to rise his game to those players that we already know that the freak can win a championship. Why? He did it. 50, 10, and 6.
Okay. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not talking about this as just a scoring and mano a mano. I'm like, no. You're not going to get a play in any key moments of the game without Randall. So it's not just his scoring in those moments, it's his decision making. Does he make the screen? See what I'm saying? Is he willing for the to continue the movement in the offense like he's done so far up until that point?
Right. Okay.
Does he just go ISO against what's drawn up? You're not gonna get around those moments without your superstar player. And for the Knicks, there's only 2 superstar players in that realm of the conversation that you would need to do what you have not flat out stated, what you're dancing around. You understand? And if you think the Knicks are going to the finals, stop dancing. Don't soft shoe. Say it.
Are you saying that I'm saying that the Knicks are going to the finals?
I think that's what you're saying, but you're tiptoeing around it.
Let me read this real quick. So Paris Duggan, thank you for the generous contribution. Paris Duggan says, should let Hurt Brunson rest and trying to beat Boston. Okay. I think I kind of agree with that some. Right? But tonight I think is a statement game. Right? But what I'm gonna say to you,
what statement are you making in March, Freezy? You've already won 8 games in a row. So if tonight's a statement game, then what's the next game? A double statement game?
No.
Do we all of a sudden deflate when they lose the next game?
No.
Is it because you know how Knicks fans are, right? Should they lose tonight against Boston, or if they win tonight against Boston and lose tomorrow, it will be heads will roll.
No.
They will be conversations. Everything Tibbs did before the 8 games will be up for questioning. I guarantee it. Because that's how this fan base is.
No, AD, listen, this is how it works, right? So
you're gonna sit here and tell me that you host this every damn day,
right, bro?
You host this insanity every damn day,
bro. What I'm saying to you, and this makes sense, right? What I'm saying to you is you beat Boston tonight. Give Brunson play tonight. And I'm 50-50 on it. Brunson play tonight, rest the leg, or Brunson play tonight, rest the leg against Charlotte, who's tanking anyway. You got Charlotte and New York on Tuesday, right? You can rest all your players against Charlotte. All of them, Randall included. Rest all your guys against Charlotte. Charlotte don't want to win that game. And if they do win, you can be like, this is the game we rested everybody in. Blah, blah, blah. But Charlotte is not a team that's headed for the playoffs. You don't want to give, or you don't need to give Charlotte any type of energy. You don't.
Are you trying to tell me that the Knicks fans don't have schizo personality traits?
They do, right? On full display, right? But what I'm saying is this game against Boston is against the number 2 seed in the East, a team you might play in the playoffs, and a team that you want to prove to your fan base that you can compete with.
I don't think it's that big of a deal for you.
I think it's everything.
I don't think it is.
What if we were playing Miami tonight? What if Miami was the team on the schedule? How would you feel about it then?
Oh, I want to beat them just because they're Miami.
What?
So it's a difference.
Okay.
I want to beat them. I want to beat them just because it's Miami. You see, for me, if we're going to talk about Miami in the playoffs, I have a better chance of getting a Miami ticket, seeing the Knicks against Miami in Miami, than I do having a Knicks ticket in New York.
And bro,
so just for that alone, my biases in spending a weekend on those Miami shores.
Me and AD on a Saturday afternoon in Miami watching a playoff game.
Stop playing live.
The world would never be the same.
So we should be rooting for, a live Lawrence Tears Sunday afternoon before game, whatever it is.
Right. Game 4
down there. We're gonna have Jay Boogie. We're gonna have Jay Boogie as the halftime.
Jay Boogie gonna be in the building.
We're gonna have Jay Boogie as the halftime. So that's what that is. But I don't see it. I don't see tonight's game as being the end all be all. I'm like, okay, you lose. All right, you get up. If you lose, okay, Brunson's dinged up. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. You're moving on, because that's not what the goal is. The goal is not.
But everybody's dinged up this time of year. It's March.
Because everybody's dinged up.
Yeah, everybody's.
See what I'm saying? The goal is not March. The goal is to be ready for April.
Not for you, AD.
It's not. It's not for. Well,
not for the Knicks.
I can't speak for nobody else.
No. I'm talking about not for the Knicks. The Knicks. Okay. All I'm gonna say is easy, big fella. Let's pat the brakes on. Who are the Knicks?
You're the one who started this conversation. You led us down this road.
Right. And for this reason, I'm saying, let me continue to lead you down this road.
Okay.
Let me continue.
Okay.
Leading us down this road, right? The thing is, certain games matter, other games don't. Right? Like if we lose 2 in a row, if we lose to Charlotte and we lose to Sacramento, so what? Are we going to face Sacramento in the playoffs? I hope so. Because if we face Sacramento in the playoffs, you know what that means. Right? What I'm saying is some games are more important for the fan base than it is for the schedule. Right? Mm-hmm. Because even though the Knicks have beaten great teams all along this win streak, including Boston, what Knicks fans would like to do is, there are some of us that are nervous, that are thinking this win streak is a fallacy. It's a dream, right? Beating Boston puts another feather in the cap of validation. So, and if you rest everybody, if you rest Hart, RJ, Grimes, Quickly, Brunson, Mitch, everybody Tuesday against Charlotte, and you lose, so what? But if you beat Boston, and basically what I'm saying is the return you get for gambling would be greater than playing it safe against what you get from Charlotte. And what if you beat Boston and Charlotte?
You see, Freezy.
Drinks on me. That's basically what I'm saying in the terms of the.
I'm a poker player, right? So I look at this like in strategies of a tournament of a poker game. See what I'm saying? So your moves that you would do early might not necessarily be the moves that you would do later in a tournament if you're moving on. You understand? And I look at the Knicks in the same vein. These March games, although important because you need to solidify your positioning, I'm not gonna lose it, or I don't think they should lose it if they lose a game tonight, or even another game against Charlotte. That's what the schedule gives you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's how you're formulating the team. And from what I see, the measures and how they're playing the game is what you want to carry on into the playoffs. Whether you lose a game here or there, they're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way.
Right.
So therefore, if they're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way, should they lose this game tonight? Or if they win this game tonight, it doesn't make them. In my mind, they beat Boston tonight. It doesn't sound the alarm any more than it did against Miami. Because they were a good team going into Miami. They were a good team going into Boston. They could beat Boston. They could beat Miami. They can beat anybody, Uncle Freezy. There's no team in the NBA right now that these here New York Knicks cannot beat in any given night on any floor. Their floor, our floor.
I don't know. I don't want to downplay it, bro.
I
don't want to down.
They sucking me back in, Freezy.
Yes.
They sucking me.
Fantastic voyage, bro. Come on, it's the fantastic voyage.
Yo, you know what? The Knicks are in my heart. So if I'm schizophrenic, then that's what it is.
But AD, think about this though. This is one thing I want to throw out there at you, right? So think about this. The Knicks have 17 games to go.
Okay.
If they beat Boston and Charlotte, just beat Boston and Charlotte alone, right? The Knicks will be 40-27.
Mm-hmm.
40-27. Right?
So you're thinking the furthest they can fall is what, 6?
Huh?
You're thinking what the furthest they can fall in the standings would be what, 6 or 7?
No. I'm not thinking about the standings.
Okay.
I'm thinking like for instance, and since I've been doing the channel, I've been telling everybody I don't want to do the box score and the standings verbatim thing. There are other YouTubers that do that. They put the box score on the screen and they talk about the box
shout out
score.
to them.
Yeah, shout out to them.
The stats are important. Right.
Not to me like that.
No, that's not what we do.
No. I don't care. I don't care nothing about that. Shout out to they put stats and stuff on the screen. Right. I mean, box scores on the screen and read them as if I don't know how to. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them for doing what they do. I don't want to do that. What I like to do is, and I say this often, appeal to Knicks fans' intellect and have a conversation with them about how they feel about their team. It's the reason why I always have content, right? Because I talk to Knicks fans about how they feel, right? This is like I tell people all the time, this is a Knicks fans channel, right? I don't want to do the basic stuff. You know, like you're not going to catch me reading Julius Randle was 8 for 17. He was 4 for... I ain't doing that. I don't care. ESPN can do that, right? What I want to talk to y'all about is this. Knicks fan, how would you feel about the Knicks winning 50-plus games this season after our Rocky start?
Doesn't matter.
Right? And so it don't matter to you now, but when I ask you in 2 years,
doesn't matter
how you feel about this 50-win team, it will. Nah, AD.
I'll say if they win 50, all right, I'm gonna put it in context for you and for Knicks fans. If they win 50 and go home in the first round,
did you say
if they win 50?
Did you say if and
hold
if?
On.
You said
hold
if
on.
and if. You said if and if.
I'm gonna give you
so
one
you
more.
got two.
I'm gonna give you one more if. I'm gonna
give you one more if.
Yeah, and we're going there. We're going there. And shout out to those who paper bag in the fifth. Back in the day.
Brown paper bags.
Brown paper bag in the fifth, right? If they go home in the second round and they win 50, it means nothing. We saw that with Melo in 54. If they go home, we're at the fifth, right? They go home in the Eastern Conference Finals after winning 50 or 50 plus. I'm satisfied with that. I can be good with that. Because for me,
what did they do last year?
I don't care about last year. I'm gonna play Uncle Freezy. I'm gonna do Uncle Freezy.
The year before last?
When Uncle Freezy doesn't want to answer something, he goes, "I don't care."
Yeah. I tell.
I don't care.
All the time. I don't care nothing about that. I don't
care nothing about that.
I ain't answering that.
I don't care.
That's what I tell Hoodie Cap.
I'm not answering that.
Yeah.
I don't care nothing about that.
Yeah.
Don't ask me nothing about that. Ask me about what's in front of me. So, if you're doing the if game, it has to be at a certain level. And I mean this, no disrespect to the 54 Melo and those guys and whatever, but you got stopped at the rim. My cousin who's watching this right now will forever kill our starting center because
he shouldn't have played, but he played anyway.
Yeah.
If you hurt while you play, because Mike
Woodson
begged him to play. That's why he played.
Whatever. Everybody's hurt. Everybody has the flu.
Right.
But before we get out of here, Uncle Freezy, because I see we already at our mark, but we're always at our mark. What was your thoughts on the
bro?
Huh?
Time be flying.
Time be flying, for real. Time be flying. That could be our statement. Time be flying. What was your thoughts on Ja Morant situation?
Ja Morant is I think there's some mental health things going on with Ja Morant, bro. I think there's some emotional instability going on with Ja Morant right now. Right? And so I don't want to make excuses for him. But I think on the one hand, he is living his dream. And on the second hand, I think he doesn't know how to handle it. Right? I think it's like the Michael Ray Richardson thing, where you're a gifted, superior athlete, living your dream and all that stuff, and all of a sudden your dream come true and it's not what you expected it to be. All the pressure and stuff. I think he needs to be grounded. My question is, where's T at? T, why you out here letting John go crazy like this, bro? T, you a good dude, and I know you can't control a grown man, and I know you probably doing your best. You know what I'm saying?
Is he?
Yeah, but
is he?
AD
Uncle Freezy.
When you
Uncle Freezy, his father is out here on the sideline acting like him and Ja are brothers.
Nah, T ain't like that.
He may not be like that, but did you not see him out there trying to fight Shannon Sharp?
Over his son? I'd have put Shannon Sharp in his no.
Whatever it was.
And Shannon Briggs, if you watching this.
How many times have you seen T at the game acting a fool?
Defending his son? Yeah.
Just acting a fool.
Nah, man, T ain't like
just
man,
acting a fool out here on the sideline.
It's like when the camera.
You're what, Uncle Freezy?
They say the same thing about LeVar Ball too, by the way.
No.
LeVar Ball was always out here talking when his boys was playing.
LeVar Ball had a strategy. LeVar Ball had a strategy, and this strategy has come to fruition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever you think about it, and his boisterousness and so forth, LeVar wasn't out here acting like a fool.
Like, right.
LeVar was out here building, leagues and getting his sons paid. And companies.
Right.
Getting his sons paid and notoriety off of one statement. LeVar Ball said, my son is better than
Steph Curry. He said that out of his own
mouth.
Went
like wildfire.
Yep.
One statement made the make the basketball world stand up and go, what? Better than Steph? Steph, who just beat LeBron in 2016?
Right.
You gotta be crazy.
Right.
One statement.
But AD, my point is this. You're
watching the gold mine and the legacy on your watch. If that's my son, okay? If that's my son,
AD, be careful of how
we would never get there. No, we would never gonna get
how
there.
People are portrayed.
No, I'm not portraying him as a bad man.
I
don't know him.
I don't know him. I didn't say you did. I'm saying watch
but all we're talking about is on your watch. Okay? All I'm talking about is on his watch, and you're talking about you're blowing it, kid. In boxing terms, Angelo Dundee, you're blowing it, kid. You're blowing it.
Right.
You're blowing the bag. You're blowing multiple bags out here.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what I'm saying, man, is this about Ja and T. Listen,
Who is in his camp? Who is in his camp, Uncle Freezy, that's in that party?
But we're
watching him go down. That's watching him go down this line right here.
AD, this thing is ridiculous. When I bring up T, we bringing up this one thing. T is not there in the club with Ja when he brandishing a gun. We acting like T don't see this thing and is gonna call Ja and say something positive to him, bro.
I'm not killing T. I'm killing the situation.
I understand what you're saying.
And if I'm part of the camp, if I have any influence, I'm part of the camp. See, here's something that we don't understand here, Uncle Freezy.
So you're saying a young man with money.
I'm gonna give you a perfect example. No, I'm not killing him for that. No, I'm not killing him for that.
And then
I'm not killing him at all.
With money makes a mistake, his people can't come to him off camera and just be a regular dad and call him on the phone and be like, Ja, come on, bro. I saw this thing.
Uncle Freezy, this thing with the league, Uncle Freezy, this is not the first incident. We're talking about. I don't know if I was talking to you, if I was talking to someone else early in the league, even before I heard about this. I'm like, yo, I'm the first person I know that was championing or saying about Memphis, you better look out for Memphis. 3 years ago, I said, you better watch out for this team right here. They got something. I was even predicting them to come out of the West at the time. I said, they're going to sneak up on people.
Yep.
Ever since that moment, Uncle Freezy, they have been walking around like they have won something. They have been walking around.
But Andy, this is not new.
Uncle Freezy, it is a part of the package.
It's not new.
I don't care about, like I already said, I don't care about yesterday. I don't care. I'm talking about here now today.
Right.
They have been walking around like they won something.
But this is not new.
The way how him and his team, son, you blowing it. I'm talking to him directly. Son, you blowing it right now. You blowing it. You need to get your team in order. Okay? Take a look at what happened to Mike Vick for some dog fighting. Dog fighting that people have been doing for 200 years in this country. Right? You blowing it right now, son. You blowing it.
Okay. All right.
And if you don't watch it, who's one of your favorite players? Knicks of all time. Michael Ray.
Right. AD, what I'm saying to you is the thing with Ja is, and to the thing that you just said, a team with potential walking around as if they done something. This happens every 5 years or so. Look at your 1980s Atlanta Hawks. Look at your Cleveland Cavaliers that used to give the Bulls the business during the regular season, during the Ron Harper Jordan era. Right? Their teams do this all the time. Look at your 1990s New York Knicks. Right? Teams with this potential to be something, and they don't recognize they don't realize their potential, right? My point though with Ja is Ja clearly made a mistake. His people were not there with him. This thing is not going unchecked. Like, you don't be a good guy, do something bad, and then turn into a bad guy.
How about the other incidents, Uncle Freezy?
What other incidents?
He's got like 5 other incidents.
Like what?
He's got like one, he's allegedly beating up some 17-year-old. Another one, he's got a few things here. All I'm saying here, Uncle Freezy, is this pattern of behavior, Uncle Freezy, if they don't catch it right here and now, okay, it's going to hurt him. It's going to devastate his career.
Right. Hey, AD, you know what? When Rod Strickland was doing the same thing as a Knick,
they got him up out of here.
They got him out of here.
They got him up out of here.
Right.
The coach called him Joe Cool. Next thing you know, Joe Cool's on the next thing smoking.
That is one. See how I like that? See that I like to tie narratives together, right? Because I was in this Knicks place on Twitter, and Katz was like, yo, the Knicks should have kept Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland together. Not dodging the Ja thing, because it's multifaceted. But the Mark Jackson thing, when one dude is always coming into training camp out of shape, and the other dude is in the bars fighting all night, coming to practice hungover, how can you keep that together? How?
And they both can't shoot.
And neither can shoot. All right, sir. I feel you. I understand where you were going with that.
That's all I'm saying. You know, I hate to see there's so many, and I purposely wanted to make sure I spoke on this because there's so many young brothers out here then and now that they're costing themselves because of the company that they're keeping and the company that they're not keeping.
Wait a minute. No, this is brand new to me, bro. I have never heard of this.
It's not brand. Well, you know it's not brand new, Uncle Freezy. But we gotta, as the elder statesman, we have to reiterate some things because, you know, the younger generation may not want to hear it. But you blowing it, son.
I know.
Blowing it. You don't have to be, Uncle Freezy. A man with that kind of money, forget the influence. Okay.
Right.
Forget how many people are buying your jerseys and how many kids are looking up to you. Forget all of that. I'm just talking about the bag. If that's what you into, because that's what these kids respect. That's what the young people respect. The bag.
Okay.
Okay. With the bag, Uncle Freezy, you're above the nonsense. How do you get the bag and you invite the nonsense? Uncle Freezy, if I have a 10th of that bag, I'm watching Scarface all day long. My woman is walking around naked, and that's all we're doing.
I understand.
I'm happy with that.
I understand, but you say that as
how do you go in reverse?
But you say that as the real AD. You don't say that as the 21-year-old AD.
The 21-year-old would be even worse. I have like 15 women walking around.
Right.
It'd be even worse. The old AD is another story. I'm good with one.
Right.
My point is, how do you have it and then you seek the nonsense?
Right. This generation,
you can have a great time. You can have a great time with good, clean fun.
Right.
Or whatever you're into. Whatever the hell you're into. How all of a sudden it clicks in your mind, let me go live.
Right. That was stupid. And did you see the gun, by the way?
It looked like something
like a 25.
It looked like something you would buy out of the out of the toy machine. You know when you in Coney Island, you trying to pluck something out of the thing. I didn't think it was real. I was like,
I laughed.
I said, you got in trouble for that? Nah, that ain't no gun. It
looked like the pistol that Jasmine Guy had in Harlem Nights.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so cute. She got a gun. I got a gun.
Right. So I'm laughing. I'm like, yo, this is so fake and fraudulent, right? And here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. All this stuff is so weak and lame. I know T is cussing out John Morant right now,
as he should.
Right, and that's what fathers do. And the thing is, people take this thing with people. Okay, Shannon Sharp called them fake, and then go to the game and think they ain't gonna say nothing to Shannon Sharp as he sit courtside. They get into this thing with Shannon Sharp, a dude that's notoriously quiet, gets into an argument with a dude who is known to be a talker, right? And this whole thing is set up like everybody's like, yo, John and Memphis, they should have never did that to Freezy. Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp ain't never did nothing to nobody.
Freezy, let me ask you a question. Freezy, right? You're a capital of industry.
Right.
You've worked in this situation.
Right.
You're the owner. You're in the owner's box. And you see your commodity during the game.
Right.
Literally seeking something other than the victory.
AD happens all the time, bro.
What? No, but I'm asking you.
It happens.
What are you thinking?
Bro, you don't remember Reggie Miller talking to Spike Lee during a playoff game?
Hold on. That is something that galvanized that man in something favorable for yourself.
I understand,
if it didn't work out for Reggie, again, as the owner, what are you thinking? Mind you, this is not playful banter on the court, whatever. This is where you have to have NBA security, right?
Right.
Come out and separate an entire team plus his pops.
Right.
Who, if memory serves me correct, had something in his hand that looked like vodka and orange juice.
Right.
If memory serves me correct. Chat, please. I don't want to convict a man for his drink.
Right.
That's not what it was.
But I'm saying, man, the whole thing is okay.
Freezy, you can't.
So you're saying John Morant can't win in this thing? Shut up and play basketball.
No, what I'm saying is
Because I remember Dennis Rodman kicked somebody in the nuts and made the Hall of Fame. I remember Charles Barkley throwing somebody through a plate glass window and going to the Hall of Fame. I remember Allen Iverson had more stuff than this.
No, Freezy.
And made the Hall of Fame.
No, Freezy. It's not about the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame. You know who the Hall of Fame benefits, Uncle Freezy? It benefits the older guys who are in the Hall of Fame because they can continuously count on that Hall of Fame check.
Yeah.
Because the jacket, you're part of the family, the membership, blah blah blah
blah, all of that. Yeah, you get to
you
sign
can count on
at the Hall of Fame. Holds an event every month.
Yes,
where they can go sign autographs and all that stuff.
Yes,
you can go make some money. Now I get all of that. You can write books as a Hall of Famer.
You got to get to the Hall of Fame to worry about that. Freezy, this game only had 4,500 plus members in its entirety.
Right. Okay.
The majority of those guys were bums.
Okay.
In its totality, as far as the greats versus the next tier, not to call another man who got to the NBA a bum, excuse me, right? But I'm saying there's levels to this. If you don't watch yourself as a Ja, you could be on the outside at some point when your career is all over looking in. You could be Allen Iverson right now. Who's giving Allen Iverson an NBA job?
Nobody.
On any level.
But somebody who handled himself with class like Jim Jackson can't go without work. You remember Jim Jackson? You remember Allen Houston?
If it's about the bag, Freezy, like I said, I'm not talking about nothing if it's about the bag, Freezy. You're ruining the bag. You're ruining the long-term bag.
Okay.
Because you're out here and you're unable. You're having so much fun. Whatever he's going to as 23 years old. I can only imagine at 23 years old, I got people trying to give me $250 million. That alone, Freezy, you would have to come pick me up to go to the game every day, Freezy.
Right.
You'd have to, literally, Freezy. You would have to come pick me up, literally, and you'd probably have to have something new and spicy every day you came to pick me up to take me to the game.
Right.
Because the moment you decide to give me $200 and something million, whatever, it is no longer about whatever. It's about.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm not ruining that.
AD, I understand what you're saying. You're talking about the cautionary tale. I get it. But what I'm saying is young people are often gonna make mistakes. Right? I know people old as dirt still making mistakes, bro. Not immature mistakes, but they make mistakes nonetheless. Right? Hey, I read Paris Duggan comment, man. Let me read this real quick. He says, T is lost in it. None of these old things happened during the internet era, and Paris Duggan, you absolutely right. When I saw your comment, I was like, yep, he's spot on.
T is lost in it.
Right. A lot of this stuff might be moving too fast for them. Right? It may be moving too fast for them.
You a superstar, Uncle Freezy. See, the one thing we don't give LeBron credit about is that the moment they got to the league, or they were gonna get to the league, or whatever. I don't know if it was him or whoever. For his team, they had an excellent plan, Freezy. Yeah. Over these 20 years, Freezy, name me an incident.
Right.
Name me something that hasn't made them money.
LeBron dodged the streets intentionally.
I dare you.
You remember when LeBron got the silver Hummer as an 18-year-old, right? 17-year-old driving a silver Hummer to high school, right? Cats in the streets was saying, that's not chrome, it's silver. They were criticizing him, talking about he not driving a chromed out Hummer, it's silver. And LeBron James said, so what?
First of all, number one, he wasn't going to college, right? they were trying to get the police brigade to take this back. They're like, oh, this is he's in high school, blah, 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 blah. His mother went to the local people. They weren't stupid.
Right. They knew who LeBron was.
They were like, how many do you need?
Yeah. She could have got 7 of them.
We're gonna have his business for forever. How many do you need right now?
Right. Well, think about it. You get back then. You could have got 7 Hummers for about $250, right? And they would have gave those Hummers.
They literally put him in that car.
Right, because all LeBron had to do was drive around with a Hummer with a dealership tag on the back, and it's advertising.
Obviously, she can't afford that.
Obviously,
that's quite obvious. So how do you get that? Oh, my son is going to be worth. Oh, stop talking, man.
My son is going to be the greatest player to ever play.
She didn't even get that far.
Right.
She didn't even get that far. It's like, oh, okay.
Right.
We're good here.
Right.
See what I'm saying, Uncle Freezy? There's a difference. Is he coming from better means than LeBron? No. See what I'm saying? It's how you structure and what your long game is on this.
Well,
what do you think it's really going to be there for you in the end? No matter if you like the personality or not. No matter if we like Ja, we like LeBron, we like Steph, whatever.
I get it. Paris Tucker, thank you for the Jen's contribution. Paris Tucker says, all I'm going to say is Myers Leonard banned for 3 years. Yeah. That's part, yeah. Man, I wanted to end the show talking about Emmanuel Quickly as Sixth Man of the Year.
We are like way over from here.
So I guess I'm gonna have to put together a separate video about Quickly being the Sixth Man of the Year.
I don't know where the time went, Uncle Fizzy.
How about them Jets?
I'm not going there with you. As I said,
all I'm gonna say is,
but I don't feel like answering something. I don't care.
That's the new retort, right? AD, how about them Jets, man? I don't care nothing about them Jets.
I don't care.
I ain't talking about that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on another journey. I don't know where we started, but I know where we ended with you for this journey. Uncle Freezy, thank you again.
Oh, yeah, I just saw this one. Hey, Paris Tucker, you're right. He said, hey, Paris Tucker, thank you. I just saw this. I just saw it. He says Magic, Bird, LeBron, etc. just changed the image of the NBA to get guys guaranteed multi-million-dollar contracts. A new TV deal, $66 billion deal.
How do you not see yourself? This is what I'm talking about, Uncle Freezy. How do you not, if you're part of the top 5 or top echelon of this league, right? And your peoples don't know the NBA Players Association is not having regular communications. Like, look, I'm fuck this up.
Right.
You mean to tell me that the NBA who is it? That's NBA Players Association head?
CJ McCollum.
You mean to tell me that? No, I mean the not the player, the head of the union head.
D, whatever his name is.
Right. You mean to tell me that they're not having regular conversations about upcoming deals?
Yes.
And how this is going to affect your money?
They AD. Listen,
you're killing me right now, Uncle Freezy. You're
not listening to what I'm saying. I never said that Ja is risking his money. I never said that Ja Morant is not risking his money. That's the part that you won't hear me on. All the stuff that I've been saying the whole time is Ja is young. He made a mistake. His pops is probably in his ear telling him right now, like, son, you done messed up. You know what I'm saying?
If he don't stop, his young ass gonna be out this league.
Right. Like, I never questioned the bag part.
if he don't calm down, okay, his young ass about to be Freezy. Let me tell you something, Freezy. When I see these guys, these young brothers, especially the young brothers, their athletic gifts is nothing new. They've been watching this since the beginning of time.
Yes.
Right? So many of the young brothers that if that's the game that they're going to play, you know, they're inviting or involving themselves in things that's going to shorten what they can make on their athletic gifts.
Right.
You understand?
You know, you only be an athlete for so long.
But
before you're a washed up athlete.
That's
look
at
CWC. CWC a washed up athlete. CWC is Charlie Ward's cousin. CWC is a washed up.
Shout out CWC.
CWC.
You know what I'm saying? And that's my point.
I got a revenge tour I'm putting together, CWC. If you still know how to play basketball, if you ain't too old, CWC, to get out there on the basketball court, you can get this work. CWC. That's all I'm saying. On that, let me get out of here before you comment.
On that level, on that note, look for us in the whirlwind, me and Uncle Freezy.
All right, y'all. Peace, y'all.